You see, this project, I only wanted it to be about creating a sparring team. But I tried to go from step 1 to step 5 without doing everything in between. Oh no, we lost power. This is fantastic, folks. Don't you agree? So, yes, we tried to go from, I don't know if I'm on, but I'm going to keep talking. I tried to go from step 1 to step 5 without doing steps 2, 3, and 4, which...
Hi, so here we are, round 2. I'm not going to do the beginning like a lot of you got to see, so if you were there in that first round, you're pretty lucky. So anyways, hi, my name is Deanna, and welcome to my WISE presentation about my taekwondo experience. What I would have performed for you all was the first degree black belt form called choreo. You actually perform this form when you are this belt. In our school, we call this the Bodan belt, but it's also called a junior black belt. And you wear this belt when you test for your first degree black belt. So why are there 2 names for this one belt? Well, that's pretty simple. You see, schools use all sorts of different colors and different styles of belts, and all pretty much different curriculum too. So we call this Bodan. Dan in Korean means Dan. So you say first Dan or first degree for first degree black belt. But unless you're under 15 years old, when this is actually called your first poom. But also some schools call this belt your first poom. So why did I just confuse you guys with useless to you information? Well, that's pretty simple, because I find it interesting, and this is not about you, this is about me. Alright, so I find every little thing in Taekwondo interesting, from the stitching in different brands of uniforms, to different ways to call the same block, and to understanding the weird Korean sizing for belts, which is kind of different than uniforms, and being able to look at someone and be like, that's your size. I find this all interesting because Taekwondo is my passion. Now, when I came to Miss O'Shea trying to find a WISE idea, I didn't really know what to do, even though WISE is all about kind of expanding and working on your passions. So why did I pick Taekwondo? Well, I was afraid of being basic at first. Basic has become a negative term in teen culture. You're basic if you like those shoes. You're basic if you like that band. And I didn't want to be labeled as something negative when I wanted to present something that sheds so much positive light into my life and so many others. So I didn't want to at first, but then I realized, you know what, it doesn't matter what other people say, because if this is my passion, this is my passion. So here I am, in the dark. Okay, so what is passion exactly? Bless you. So, passion has multiple definitions, kind of like love. You can say, I love a sandwich. Or you can say, I love my mom. You're using two different things, but use the same word. That's the same thing with passion. The dictionary says it's a strong and barely controllable emotion, while the website Embrace Possibility says that it's a willingness to suffer for what you love. Well, after my research, I've kind of found passion to be something you do beyond question, something you do beyond words, and you do through action, because actions speak louder than words. So I kind of joked to my instructors that this project is called Prepping My Taekwondo School for My Departure, which is true, but it's not all I've done. Unlike most projects, this project isn't very linear. It had 3 parts with no exact one thing to time altogether. So I focused on, like I said, 3 different roads. 1, setting a foundation for our school's sparring program. 2, creating new ideas to organize the physical school as well as behind the desk type stuff. And 3, further creating bonds with all the kids, which ended up bettering myself. So initially this project was only supposed to be creating a sparring team, but I was trying to go from step 1 to step 5 without doing everything in the middle. because you can't really do that. So we started off by creating our sparring program with first having a class on Mondays. We only had one class a week on Saturdays. And before I go on, I'd like to mention me and my instructor, he's sitting over there in the dark, Master Sessa, worked on the sparring program together. So first we created sparring class on Mondays, and it flopped. It flopped. It was me and one other person, that was it. So I decided to do a little bit more advertising. You can't see it because we're in the dark, I became in charge of the whiteboard since last year. So I wrote on it the different sparring times for the 2 classes that we set up. I announced it to the end of class on days that we had sparring, and even some days that we didn't, and I felt like it. And I reached out to individual kids to kind of push them to try it. And we saw more people. So, I'm sorry, that is my mother, but I'm gonna hang up on her because I cannot do this again. Anyway, where was I? So, after we created the second sparring class, the next step was to create a beginning and end procedure. So, a beginning and end procedure for how we start and finish class. This was created by my instructor, Master Sessa. And this gave the kids more responsibility of their training and also helped them to focus better into class and what we were doing. Then I also decided to push for a 3rd sparring class to add to our program to accommodate for students who have CCD or Boy Scouts on Mondays. So we made another class on Wednesdays, and again we got an increase. I even ended up making this poster, isn't it lovely, when I redid the whole board to keep inviting more people. Before we started the program, we had a consistent 3 to 4 kids per Saturday class. At most, on a very good day, we had 8 to 10. But before Corona hit, we had a consistent 6 to 8 people with, on a good day, 10 to 12. And we had an increase coming in that would have come in because winter sports were ending. So even though Corona kind of made this program's momentum come to a halt, we still didn't lose that momentum as a team. We are already planning to hopefully have tryouts for a sparring team in August, Corona permitting, of course. So as long as the kids still have the momentum and still have the passion that we instilled in them, we will be having a team shortly. So, and for this program, besides just creating days and creating a start and end procedure, I also created things, because the end procedure, it was clean your gear, put it away. But when I wasn't there to be the little mom, it became a pigsty.
This is what I walked into today. Oh, look, chest protectors. Lovely. This is fine. This is fine. Oh, what's this? Chest protector, gear, 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 gear. Wipes, that's open. Why are these here? Gear, not in a bag. Helmet, in a bag? That's not where that belongs. Oh, look, that's there. So, I'm great. Oh, look, a target that belongs not in this room. Oh, and look, the light is on. So, how do I hold this? So what I'm gonna do is make some rules to hang up on the wall about the gear, how to put it away properly, how to clean it properly, how the room should look once sparring class is done. I want to get more of those little bags. I think they're helpful when there's more than 4 of them. And I'm gonna make the Bodons in charge of that, making sure that they are the ones that are ultimately responsible for making sure the room is clean. as another leadership position. So I'm delighted.
So I decided to make different organizational charts. These go above the chest protector hooks, that way the students can put the correct size on the correct hook. Then I created little bags, and I numbered all the gear, numbered all the bags, that way same number gear in the bag, that way the kids don't lose the gear and they know where to put it when it's done and cleaned. And I created this chart, which shows all the number bags that we have and their sizes. That way the big kids don't steal gear from the little kids, because surprisingly, that was a problem. Then, if I rearrange my little thing here, I created this giant poster board, which is a checklist, of instructions that kids should be doing when they finish class to clean up their gear, followed by beautiful visuals. So I didn't only try to organize the sparring gear, I also organized a whole bunch of other little things. Some more physical things being our belt drawers, the bathroom closet, which me and Becky did together, and the whiteboard, which I changed from just lists to actually looking like a physical calendar, much like if you've ever been to the science research room. And also during quarantine, we had a flood. Say hi.
Hi. Who's that?
No one.
No one?
I'm just videoing. For memories.
Yeah. Memories on the moonlight.
You like, she likes that the water comes up in the freaking crack.
It's entertaining. It wasn't the one like before our black belt ceremony or something, was it?
Was it?
I feel like it was before the ceremony and test. It was like the weekend before. Which was actually a blessing in disguise, because we were able to rip up all the mats and pressure wash them down to really give them a deep clean. And it actually pushed us to start to organize D2, which is our, you can't see, it's our room next door that we acquired last May, and it could really use some love after being in the family for a year. So we are still currently cleaning that out and planning to organize it further. Now, as for behind the desk stuff, behind the desk is in stuff that students and families don't necessarily see because it doesn't always pertain to them. I made these MAU crew calendars for the crew, which is me, Master Tessa, my other instructor, Mr. Connolly, and Becky. Yes, his fingers, aren't they lovely? The purpose was to write down any dates that were important to us as a school, such as camp payments, like you get a 15% off code when it ends, as well as saying when we weren't going to be here in case we had some sort of event. Turns out we weren't here for a while. Then after that, I also decided to start up monthly meetings. That way we could assess, process, and create new ideas and goals for the coming month. This is how we ended up actually creating most of our things that we did during quarantine. We started off with challenges. This is how we developed our Zoom classes, and also how we created our card system to deliver to essential workers in the beginning of this pandemic. Next, I updated our birthday list. If you could see, this is the original one with these names. It has been updated since 2017. So I updated it. I don't have a physical copy because I don't need it right now. And I also one of the I also pushed for posting pictures of the kids on their birthdays during quarantine. That way they feel that they're still connected and they know that we still care about them. Because being a quarantine birthday kid myself, you kind of need that little push. But also I created some stuff that doesn't work quite yet, but I'm not giving up on it. So these are 2 inventory charts. This one was for belts, this one was for uniforms. The big thing that doesn't work for these is kind of timing. See, we only really have belt promotion tests 3 to 4 times a year. We haven't had 4 in like a while, but mostly 3. So, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for belts to be shipped. But sometimes we don't know if a kid is testing until the week of the test. So we need to find a better time to fill these out and get them returned before we actually, use them. Then this is the uniform inventory sheet. I didn't even mock up this one yet because this one's a little different because we'll have, let's say 1 month we'll have 5 new kids start and then the next month it'll be dry and nobody will start. So we have to play around with timing on when to fill this out as well. And I plan to do a sparring gear one once we organize. But the next thing I also worked on was sparring gear order forms. This is my first copy. It's a packet. And then I realized, oh, no one wants to fill out a packet. So instead I narrowed it down to just being 1 sheet that they write on the top sheet. The back sheets are just pictures describing more of what they're getting, and then a size chart if they, let's say, take this home and measure it for themselves. Now we're still working on this, figuring out packages and pricing. Next page. So my third and final track was further creating better bonds with the kids because, well, my first intention was that it's fun because kids are great. But actually it ended up bettering me as an assistant instructor and as a person. So I've been creating bonds with these kids ever since I started. I started taekwondo in 2013 with MAU, but actually at New York Sports Club, and then I came here in January of 2014. Ever since I started when I was 11 years old, and ever since I've always been the oldest student, actually from here originally. So I always made it my job to welcome the new kids, make them feel more comfortable, because taekwondo is kind of like crazy at first. You're moving your body in ways that you've never imagined before, and you learn all these new things at once just to be able to do a few basic things. So it can be a little scary and a little intimidating when you're watching kids who are belts and belts and belts above you doing these weird, crazy things. But really, our kids are the best because they also do that too. And I know all parents are like, oh, my kid's the best kid. But really, our kids are the best. Because not only are they the nicest, most interesting, funniest kids, they also have a really sarcastic sense of humor. I don't know where they got that from, but we'll just roll with it for now. So these kids have become my buddies because not only am I an assistant instructor and sometimes a little coach, but I also mess around with them. Being in a martial art, roughhousing is kind of accepted. So I have so much fun doing that with the kids, but the most fun I have with them is actually just talking to them. Talking and listening to all they have to say, because kids say some weird stuff. So, and I can't see in the dark. Okay, so what I love most about when you talk to a kid for a while is seeing them to open up. Now, I could go through tons and tons of examples with my 2 little, they're not little anymore, I keep saying little, my AU boys, with my little sister, with my little Megan and Matthew, but I'm going to use a different example about this girl who I miss dearly, Ishana. See, she was always very shy at first, but then I started to talk to her more, and she actually opened up. I got her to laugh more and talk to other kids, and you could physically see her becoming stronger, more confident, and more comfortable with herself, and just in the space that she took up.
Is that Jumbi? From Jumbi.
Okay.
Any? C. Shaq.
it's like one of your own kids. When you train these kids and you see them, you're like, yes. Our kids are truly incredible, and getting to know them helps with teaching, because just like teaching in an actual academic school, each kid has their own learning style and learning speed. And you have to be able to know someone's style and be able to adjust quickly. Because if I'm doing kicking combination, which is just a series of multiple kicks in a row with a group of 5 students, student 1 goes, and then student 2 is trained to go right after him. So I have to be able to assess what student 1 did and be able to provide feedback in a way where student 1 understands it before student 2 even has the chance to kick, or while they're kicking. But while they're kicking and while I'm providing the verbal feedback, I still have to pay attention to what they're doing and how they're doing it, and then come up with new ways to provide feedback to them. It's kind of like a little puzzle, and that's what I love about it, because it's a puzzle and a game, and sometimes I can be competitive. So Taekwondo has given me so many opportunities, has shared so many life lessons, and given me not only physical skills but mental skills that you can't really mimic anywhere else. I'm forever grateful for my 2 instructors, Master Sessa and Mr. Connolly, and our 4th crew member, Becky, for all that they've taught and provided for me. I'm forever grateful to our MAU family for supporting me through my journey and allowing me to guide their kids through theirs. And to my parents and crazy family for supporting me through this crazy journey and helping me out because stuff can get expensive. And in the fall, I will be attending Johnson & Wales University. While they don't have a Taekwondo school on campus or club connected with campus, I do have multiple opportunities to venture out for another school. I will most likely be attending Peak Performance Taekwondo in Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, hey there. It's me editing. And I would just like to say, as regards to my last statement, it is unforeseeable if I'm going to go to that school, might go to another one, might not be able to go at all. As we know, the COVID-19 situation is ever for changing, so I'm going to retract my previous statement. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm hoping to keep Taekwondo in my college career, and I plan to. Whether I will be doing it right off the bat is up to COVID. So let's hope he likes me, or she, or they. We're inclusive.
And being able to focus and bettering myself as an athlete. Dark, isn't it fun? So, while I physically may be leaving, I will never leave, because I will be continuing Taekwondo there. I will be training her not only to get better as an athlete, but also for hopefully my second Dan, as technically my rotation for testing comes around in December. Because with Dans, what gets weird, it starts at Bodan. Once you want to test for your first degree black belt, some schools do this differently. This is how we do it. You have to wait a year before you can test for your first degree black belt. And then once you're a first degree black belt, you have to wait 2 years to test for your second degree. Now, I tested in 2017, but my certification from Korea didn't come till 2018. So 2020, maybe something good can come out of it, right? So even though I'll physically be leaving, I will never actually leave. I will be helping MAU distantly with whatever I can, coming back always on breaks, and meeting up at tournaments with our sparring team. I will be leaving a legacy. There will come a time when kids don't know the sound of my voice, how it cracks when I cry. They won't know. They don't know I dance when I'm nervous, or when I smile when I cry, because I'm a wacko.
Thousands of tears later.
One more minute. Okay. Stop laughing at me. I get it, I'm funny. But they will know all that I've created for them. So thank you for listening to my weird presentation and for dealing with me crying for 3 minutes straight, and for my phone going off for my mom, now 3 times, during this presentation. So I hope you laughed, and I hope you enjoyed what I had to offer.
Yay!
Bye.
Hit the button.